Part 1. Strong pawn structures. Levers defined, duos and trios, pawn chains, and passed pawns.
I believe that the single most powerful notion emphasized by Dr. Kopec is that of levers. Almost every position has its appropriate lever, including, for example, the positional lever, the attacking lever, the undermining lever, and more.
A lever is a pawn move which 1. Offers a trade of pawns, 2. Damages your opponent's pawn structure, and or 3. Improves your own pawn structure. A duo is a pair of pawns of the same color on adjacent files on the same rank, usually considered from the 4th rank and higher. A duo in the center is usually considered an asset when achieved in the opening or middle game. Central duos are considered strong if only for the squares they control. The fundamental issue surrounding the evaluation of a duo is often how hard is the duo to maintain. Is there a supporting cast, such as the white C and F pawns in the diagram position, to help maintain the duo? The following game illustration from the excellent book The Art of the Middle Game by Paul Keres and Alexander Kotov, translated by Harry Golombek, Dover, 1964, illustrates the notion of big central pawn duo in the middle game and its full crowning with success. The diagram position is from the game Unsicker Kotov, Salzjobaden, 1952. First impressions are that black does not have a bad game, as currently the white bishop is hemmed in behind his pawns. But white has a clear plan to create a central duo. So white plays 1 F3. And now black, Unsicker, replies with knight to B8. Black wants to redeploy to C6, but knight C7 followed by knight E6 may have been a better way to prepare for white's oncoming E4. So white plays 2 queen D3, rook E8, knight G3, knight C6, and bishop B2 is white's 4th move. White's bishop still looks bad, but the advance E4 also appears impossible to stop. Black replies rook C8, and white plays rook A E1. After 5, rook A E1, we consider 3 alternatives. One that I suggest for black is CD. Another is a suggestion by Kotov, 5C4 by black, and a third is the game continuation, H6 by black. I suggest CD, CD, and now knight A5 for black. The second alternative, which Kotov suggests, is for black to play 5C4, white plays queen C2, black plays B5, white plays E4, black plays G6, white plays E5, knight to D7, F4 by white, and F5 by black, trying to establish a blockade of white's big central pawn chain, and he can enhance this blockade later by putting his knight from F8 to E6. And as we will talk about later, knights are excellent blockaders of protected passed pawns, such as white's central E-pawn. Instead, we continue with the game. After H6 on black's 5th move, white plays E4, black plays C takes D4, white plays C takes D4, Black plays D takes E4. White plays F takes E4. And black plays knight E5, attacking the white queen. White goes queen to D1. And black goes knight to C4. White continues with bishop to C1. And suddenly, now that white has safely established his central pawn duo, it appears that black is lost, as he has no defense against E5 and a white invasion with all his forces on the king side. This is the central duo at its best. Play continued. Knight H7, E5, Rook E6, Rook E4. From here, white's moves are easy to play. There are no serious attacks on his center, and by this point, his kingside onslaught is well on its way. Knight to F8, knight to F5, king to H8, queen H5. Besides black's F-pawn, which is hanging, bishop takes H6 is also threatened. Rook to C7, Rook H4, Knight H7, and now the explosive sacrifice, Knight takes G7. From here, black's position is completely decimated. King takes G7, bishop takes H6 check, King G8, Rook G4 check, Rook G6, and now E6 exclamation mark, undermining black's rook on G6. This blow is so devastating that black resigned. In summary, the real issues surrounding a duo, or for that matter, any pawn center, are 1. How hard is the center to maintain? 2. How easy is it for the pawn center to advance? This is a typical trio which white gets from the familiar opening sequence of moves in the King's Indian defense. It is imperative that in the next few moves, black does something to strike at white's center. This is the game Kopec-McAlpin from the Richardson Cup Scottish Team Championship in 1977. It illustrates the trio and the power of the trio when it is left unhindered. Play went 1d4, g6, e4, bishop g7, knight c3, d6, f4, and white has established his trio. Black should decide how he will try to contain, strike at, and destroy white's duo and trio. c6, bishop c4, b5, bishop b3, b4. A typical expansion on the queen side in this opening by black. Watch how white's queen knight fulfills its role in supporting the trio. Knight c to e2, knight f6, knight to g3, exclamation mark. I like this move. Although the knight is temporarily defending, it can also promote white's attack on the king side. Castles. f5, exclamation mark. White does not intend to allow his f-pawn to become fixed on f4 and then possibly a liability in that sense. Instead, he uses it to attack. Black replied with e6. Black finally reacts to white's center, but it's perhaps too late already. F takes g6. F takes g6. Black replies by trying to maintain defense on the F file with his rook rather than by taking towards the center with his H pawn. Play continues. Knight to F3, D5, E5, knight on F6 to D7, and now we have a French defense structure, except that black has fianchettoed his king bishop, and white seems to have a ready-made attack on that wing. Knight to G5, knight to B6, H4, C5, H5. White is going all out on the king side. C takes D4. H takes G6. Bishop takes E5. Queen H5. True, the white center has been completely destroyed, but so has black's king side. Bishop takes G3 check. King to D1. Queen to E7. Knight takes H7, and the threat here is knight F6 check. Black plays rook F4. White plays bishop takes F4. Bishop takes F4. G3, exclamation mark, to try to clear the F file, and so that on bishop takes G3, white can play knight to G5 winning. So black plays simply A5. White plays G takes F4. Black plays A4. And white plays G7. Black responds knight on 8 to D7. And white now clears the position, namely the H file, by playing the sacrifice knight F6 check. Knight takes F6. Queen H8 check. King F7. G8 equals queen check, again distracting the black knight and clearing the files and ranks. Black recaptures. Knight takes G8. White plays rook H7 check, winning the black queen. Black plays king E8. Queen takes G8 check. King to D7. Rook takes E7 check. King takes E7. Queen G7 check. King to D6. Queen takes D4. A takes B3. Queen takes B6 check. And black finally resigns.